A Christian Man's Guide. Chapter 1. The man is head of the family. A man's roles. According to the Holy Bible, the man is symbolic head of the family. Loves and honors his wife. Becomes his wife's servant. Provides for his family. Tends to the spiritual part of his life. Spends time with his wife in knowledge and understanding. Is willing to supply her needs. Responds to her sexually to fulfill her emotional needs. Is willing to sacrifice his own comfort for his wife's. Gets rid of all childish things. Treats all women with gentleness and respect. The Christian man. I've looked on a lot of women with lust. I've committed adultery in my heart many times. This is something God recognizes I will do and God forgives me for it. Jimmy Carter, former American president. Anyone who is too passionate a lover of his wife is an adulterer. Saint Jerome, 341-430. Husbands, go all out in your love for your wives, exactly as Christ did for the church. Ephesians 5. The hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and a quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price. 1 Peter 3:4. Speak the truth with love. Ephesians 4:15. But I would have you know, that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man and the head of Christ is God. 1 Corinthians 11:3. For the husband is the head of the wife. Ephesians 5:23. One that ruleth well in his own house. 1 Timothy 3:4. Abstain from lust. 1 Peter 2:1. A Christian gentleman tries to be a positive force for the world by being humble, loving, supportive, gentle, and helping people. He's not defined by money or his job even though he tries to do the best he can at his chosen profession. He tries not to be lustful nor jealous of the good fortune of others. He's not egotistical and doesn't try to impress others with his possessions or his so-called status in the world. He tries to be nice all the time even when others are being nasty to him. A Christian gentleman tries to live like Jesus and lives to help and inspire his fellow man. When you serve your wife out of love, you create heaven in the home. Lasting marriages are built on compassion and grace. Pray for your wife and help her out with things out of blue just because you love her so much. When the devil tempts you and you get mad at your wife and kids, hold on before you do something you will feel bad about later. It comes down to being calm and using Jesus as your mantra whenever you feel more like a savage than a Christian. Focus on Jesus, what would he do in this situation, and hopefully the feeling will pass in due time. Keep praying for yourself to stay strong. Pray, study the Bible and go to church together. Develop a Christian vision for your family. God comes first, so each of you should have your own separate ritual with him. Do family things together. Socialize with other Christians in social Christian events like revivals, summer camps, charities, etc. Love your children. Teach them well to live as humbly as Jesus did. Pray to be like Jesus. Be kind. Tell the truth. Keep a standard of integrity. Keep your heart pure out of love for your wife. Be a team. Give your wife your time to help her, enjoy her company and listen when wants to talk to you. Treat her with love and she will bring it back to you. Love each other even when you're not feeling so strong. Don't let the little things get to you. Never complain, criticize, or cry like a big baby to get your way. The giver is the true lover. He loves his wife unconditionally. Whenever you don't feel particularly loving, always go back to the standby that always works. Be humble like Jesus. Try to eat together as a family, Acts 2:42. Honor your in-laws and her friends. Don't keep grudges from the past. Discuss your major life's issues as a family and make decisions as a team. Love unconditionally as God loves you. Remaining pure biblically according to God is to express your love to your wife but stop short of lewdness or lust. Don't feed your fantasies about lewd sex by watching stupid TV shows and pornography. Focus on your innocent love for your wife and express it naturally. That's the way to have great sex according to the Bible. Know that your wife is not yours to own but God's property. Think that Jesus is watching your every move in the love department. According to the Bible, God, you and your wife own your body. Romans 12:1 tells us to use our bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. Therefore we must not use our bodies in any way that disrespects Him, which includes all sexual acts outside of matrimony, including masturbation. In 1 Corinthians 7:4, the Bible says, in the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone but also to his wife. So if you cheat on her or have lusty thoughts of other women, you're dishonoring her. So that's it. According to Christian thought, you get one wife for life. Your sexuality belongs to her and God, and anything else is lewd, forbidden behavior. Of course, if you've read my introduction elsewhere in the book, you will know that to me this goes against the true primal nature of man, which is why all men have sexual thoughts constantly, even Christian ones. So if you're a Christian man and struggling with your sexuality, have fellowship with other men and go to sexaddict.com for help in repressing your sex drive. Men, being the islands they often choose to be, need to open up and share their true feelings more so than women who have their friends that they talk to. Men have friends too, but they often don't talk about things that matter, like the problems with the wife. There's a Christian support group called Promise Keepers geared for men to take responsibility for themselves and be better husbands and family men. It's non-threatening and inspirational, a good starting point for men to get together and honestly be themselves with each other. You don't have to talk, just sit there and listen to them speak. It will do wonders for your family life and you might make some good friends in the process. Some scriptures to deal with lust are Cor 6:18, 2 Tim 2:22, James 4:7, Cor 16:13, Rom 8:6, John 8:34, and Rom 13:14. Stephen Arterburn of New Life Clinics wrote a book called Every Man's Battle, which talks about masturbation and pornography as a bad thing. You should abstain from these things, honor your wife and have great sex with her where it properly belongs. Chapter 2. A Christian Man's Sexual Immorality Guide. Flee from sexual immorality. In the Old Testament, Joseph, the son of Jacob, who was sold into slavery by his brothers, became the Egyptian Pharaoh's main man. Then Pharaoh's wife tried to seduce him. He did the right thing and fled. Even she later lied and said he tried to seduce her. The way to deal with temptation is to have an authentic, vibrant relationship with Jesus Christ. You can't avoid the sexy images everywhere in modern mass media culture, but you can train your mind to think it's cheap exploitive crap. There will always be challenges to your integrity. Many men talk vile as a matter of course because they think they're being macho and cool. When I was young and hanging around with friends, there was occasionally some foul-talking loudmouth among us. Usually I would stay there for a while and make a note to avoid that person in the future. Don't act as though I'm trying to befriend him if he approaches me in public. Men ought to love their wives just as they love their own bodies. A man who loves his wife loves himself. None of us ever hate our own bodies. Instead, we feed them and take care of them just as Christ does the church, for we are members of his body. Ephesians 5:28-29. And let the wife see that she respects and reveres her husband, that she notices him, regards him, honors him, prefers him, venerates him, and esteems him, and that she defers to him, praises him, and loves and admires him exceedingly. Ephesians 5:33. Sexual addiction for Christians. Here is a passage from the book Think Before You Look. 40 Powerful Reasons to Avoid Pornography. The treacherous sea of pornography is drowning millions of young and middle-aged men. Research indicates that 60% of Christian men are addicted to pornography. In Ephesians 5, Paul talks about the love of Christ for the church, humanity, as so strong that he died for it. From this, the implication is that we should love our spouses so much that we would be willing to die for each other, which metaphorically means that great love means a willingness to sacrifice personal desires, including sexual ones. We should try to stay pure in the sexual sense for our wives. A Christian man righteously has a noble calling of being a man of honor and integrity in the sanctity of his marriage to such an extent that he is willing to sacrifice his other sexual desires in return for being with his wife purely. A normal Christian man still gets aroused by anything sexual, but a good one will shut it off. Even Christians say not all nudity is pornographic. It's only pornographic when it shows people in a sexually provocative/moral way. To this end, it goes back to the Sermon on the Mount. Are you lusting in your heart for someone other than your wife, even if it's just a picture in a magazine? The distinction between single men and married men doesn't seem clear in terms of Christianity. Married men have to live within the bounds of marriage, but I rarely see anything written by Christians regarding single men and the use of pornography to masturbate. They seem to conveniently not address this issue and simply keep bringing up the sanctity of the marriage. I've seen a Christian youth pastor say that using pornography leads to a sexually adventurous, hedonistic mindset and corrupts the purity of our youth, which is to save it all for marriage. Pornography puts love and sex at the same level, suggesting that lust is love, but it's not. It encourages swinging and adultery, since it's a theme in all manner of porno movies, and makes married people think of cheating to spice up their lives, as they say. If you're not pro-porn or pro-casual sex, you're considered a nerd. I, personally, as the writer of this article, have no answers, since it should be evident where my sentiments lie with regard to these issues. I believe that if it feels good either by yourself or with consenting adults, it's fine. I urge you to read the Bible for direction, inspiration, and guidance. I've seen a number of shows about Christian men dealing with sex addiction, usually the use of pornography, and while I applaud them for getting on TV and bearing their souls about their so-called double lives, as they call it, being pious and Christian in public while watching sexy videos or doing cyberporn in private, I still feel sorry for them because they're all in denial. You can't change who you are. You can control it, but you can never change the way you were born. I was born a sex addict, as was every other normal man. Monogamy is cultural indoctrination, not biological inclination. It's great for the church to try to promote monogamous marriages, but you have to know who you are. If you're too much of a sex addict, don't marry in the first place, because you will have to compromise your true primal self too much, and most women don't understand this, your need for constant sex every day. In my opinion, wives should not get all bent out of shape when their husbands watch porn and masturbate. This is nothing. It's not cheating or going to hookers. It's just a necessary release of sexual energy. Anyway, the gist of all these Christian shows is that the guy comes out with his wife, gives his spiel about being a porn addict in college, then moving on to internet porn until he cheats or lets it get out of hand and he reaches rock bottom / has a breakdown because of this double life he has been leading. They describe it as an inner anger against themselves kind of thing, which they take out on their wives and children. They do their porn thing, then feel guilty about it, which makes them feel bad, so they're angry at themselves, go home and take this frustration out on their families. In this one particular case I saw, the guy ended up by cheating on his wife, so he went home and cried to her, whereupon she cried, and they both cried all night, and that was the end of it for him and the start of his new life as a proper family man. But again I say, your natural essence is still there and will always be. They called sex addiction the spirit of a demon which they purge out through God's love, but it's not that simple to fight nature. Jimmy Swaggart got caught 2 or 3 times as far as I can remember. You have to know who you are and deal with it. I personally think watching porn and jacking off is good for a husband because it releases some of his angst, and then he doesn't have to be so tense and sexually unfulfilled all the time, because no man in a monogamous marriage with children gets all the sex he really wants. I repeat, no man in a marriage gets the sex he really wants. This is a fact. If you get married, you're presumably exchanging some of your sexual freedom for love, so be ready for it. The particular show I saw was Life Today. LifeToday.org, where James Robinson, the host, was interviewing some guy by the name of Toby something who had a set of 6 tapes called Living the Dream, which was a seminar for sex addiction for Christians. In essence, What they say is that every woman you cheat with, even in your mind when you watch pornography, comes between the sanctity between you and your wife. It's kinda like a Jimmy Carter thing: if you lust in your mind for someone else, you've sinned, an impossible standard according to my way of thinking. Your bodies are parts of the body of Christ, therefore, by implication, you do not defile that part of you which is Christ, which is your body. If you join yourself to the Lord, you become spiritually one with Him. By now, you know that to me, the true primal nature of man is to have sexual thoughts constantly, even if you're a Christian. So if you want to be pure and live a pious life, have fellowship with other men. Christian porn addiction. There must not be even a hint of sexual immorality. Fornication and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not even be mentioned among you, as becomes saints. Ephesians 5:3. Christian men are men like me, with natural desires that they were born with. The Bible says repress those desires, wait until you meet a good girl and marry her to have sex. The problem is that your sex drive will always be high by nature. Even after you marry a nice girl, you will still always be horny and will not get all the sex you want from her. Some Christians say masturbation is good, some are against it. They say read the Bible, go to church, and don't allow yourself to be tempted. If you don't need the internet for your work, don't even get it if you think you might go on porn websites. If you are staying at a hotel, tell them to disable the pay-per-view porn channel. You have to fight for your purity in this sexually soaked culture that is everywhere. Live a pure life God's way. Christian sex addiction websites. chariscounseling.com/sa_resources.htm. afa.net/pornography/addiction.asp. bebroken.com/bb/about. blazinggrace.org/sexaddiction.htm. christiananswers.net/love/stories.html. christiananswers.net/q-eden/sexaddictiontips.html. christianbook.com, healing wounds. christian-sextherapy.com. defendingtruth.org. desertsteereme.org/sexaddiction.htm. faithfulandtrueministries.com/addict.php. family.org/married/topics/0025118.cfm. fellowshipassociates.com. flatirons.church.com, porn statistics. growthtrack.com/artman/publish/article_177.php. jcsgirls.com. josh.org. lifechurch.tv. manchurch.com. mainanthamira.com. mainanthamira.org. nationalministries.org/abmn. new-life.net/sexaddict.htm. newlifeministry.org. phallic.org, Mormon Guide to Self-Control. porn-free.org. porn-free.org/info_sexaddict.htm. pornnomore.com. primary-focus.tv. protectkids.com/effects/resources.htm. puredesire.org, Christian. pureintimacy.org. pureintimacy.org. purelifeministries.org. purionline.com. purewarrior.org. relationalhealing.com, a private Christian-based counseling service, sexual intimacy disorders. rsaministries.org. sandalschurch.com, Riverside, CA. sermonaudio.com/bebroken. Be Broken Ministries exists to help equip the church for encouraging, supporting, and challenging the sexually broken to live every day in purity. settingcaptivesfree.com. Sex addiction and women. sexaddict.com. sexualrecovery.com. stephenconnor.com/shame, the shame of being a man. theintimacycenter.biz. tipritv.com, want sexual purity? Get freedom from your shame. Steps to overcome porn addiction. UnityRestored.com, Unity Restored provides psychological information in concert with the truths of the Catholic faith, to help those who are struggling with pornography. HudosidHurt.com, XXXChurch.com, Christian website. Christian Alliance for Sexual Recovery. 6542 Regency Lane, Eden Prairie, Minnesota 55344. 888 Help Hope. helpanhope.org. Sexual Addiction Help. Esther Ministries. 877-6 Esther. EstherOnline.org. Counseling for women about their sex addict husbands. Focus on the Family. Colorado Springs, Colorado 80995-7620. 719-531-5181. 800-232-6459. Family.org. FocusOnTheFamily.ca. Major Christian organization, ask for list of publications. Life Today. FT. Worth, Texas 76182. 800-947 Life, Prayer and Support Line. Lifetoday.org. Tape series Living the Dream. National Christian Men's Ministry. 877-626-6266. ncmm.org. National Coalition for the Protection of Children and Families. 800 Compton Road, number 9224. Cincinnati, Ohio 45231. 800-583-2964, Porn Addicts Helpline. 513-521-6227. Fax, 513-521-6337. nationalcoalition.org. Promise Keepers. POG 103,001. Denver, Colorado 80250. 800-551-3660. 303-843-9812. Fax, 303-421-2918. PromiseKeepers.org. PromiseKeepers.ca. Sex Addiction Hotline. SexAddict.com. 800-533-5266. Chapter 3. A Christian Man's Website Guide. GoJuizWag.com, a men's Christian love website. Bunch of articles on the homepage. Christian Men's Resources. crefloddollarministries.org, Men's Convention. edcole.org. edgetown.com/edgetown/edge_fathers_rights. FamilyEFA.com, 800-358-6329. FatherMag.com. Fathers.com. FellowshipAssociates.com. FOTB.com. GreatDads.org. Honorbound.ag.org. Josh.org. KOFC.org, Knights of Columbus, Catholic. LifeToday.org. ManchuRCH.com. MainanTHAmirror.com. MainanTHAmirror.org. MarriageBuilders.com. MEN.crosswalk.com. NCMM.org. nationalministries.org/ABMN. newlifeministry.org. new-life.net. mastrip.htm, Masturbation from a Christian POV. newmanmagazine.com. pathmakers.org. smallgroups.org. Christian Men's Network. 251 Countryside Court, Southlake, Texas 76092. 800-225-6263. edcole.org. Man in the Mirror Ministry. 154 Wilshire Boulevard, Castleberry, Florida 32707. 800-929-2536. MainanTHAmirror.org. TD. Jake's Manpower Rallies. 800-989-9730. tdjakes.org. National Christian Men's Ministry. 877-626-6266. ncmm.org. New Man Christian Magazine. Strangcom. 600 Reinhardt Road, Lake Mary, Florida 32746. 800-829-3371. newmanmag.com. Promise Keepers. POG 103001. Denver, Colorado 80250. 800-551-3660. 303-843-9812. Fax, 303-421-2918. PromiseKeepers.org. PromiseKeepers.ca, Canada. A list of Christian men websites from blog.feedspot.com/Christian_men_blogs. blog.lifeway.com/leadingmen. CarrieNiuwhoff.com/blog. CatholicGentleman'sGuide.com. Christendall.com/l.com. ChristianMen'sNetwork.com/blog/news. ChristVSL.com. cvm.org.uk/blog. dadtired.com/blog. DanielleZeokeek.blogspot.com. DarrenCSmith.com/blog. deepstrength.wordpress.com. discerning-dad.com. dthministry.worthyofpraise.org. ElihuScorner.com. everymanministries.com/blog. GeneWhitehead.com/blog. isahopper.com. joshuasoutpost.com. carlobroussard.com/articles. kirkgiles.com. leviancy.com. lordbadu.com. manlytraining.com. mastersmen.com. missionalman.com. newmangalization.com. news.ami.net. papashanscorner.com/blogs. realmenconnect.com/blog. reddit.com/r/christianmen. renew.org. rickthomas.net. substantialhope.com. the360menproject.com. walkingwidhalimp.net. wingmen.org/blog. youcanhavehope.com. A list of Christian men's news websites at feedspot.com/news/Christian_men. Carrie Nieuwenhof blog. CarrieNiuwhoff.com. Renew. Renew.org. Discerning Dad. Discerning-dad.com. The Generous Husband, blog for Christian husbands. The-generous-husband.com. Christianity and Masculinity, Christian men's blog. deepstrength.wordpress.com. Walking with a Limp. walkingwidhalimp.net. You Can Have Hope. youcanhavehope.com. Substantial Hope. substantialhope.com. Christian Men's Network, Christian Men blog. christianmensnetwork.com. Joshua's Outpost. joshuasoutpost.wordpress.com. Carlo Broussard articles. carlobroussard.com. A list of Christian men's podcasts at blog.feedspot.com/Christian_men_podcasts. Anchor.fm/manlikeradio. Anchor.fm/warrior-within-Christian. Anchor.fm/God-centered-recovery. Anchor.fm/Christian Guys. Anchor.fm/The Sedated Man. Anchor.fm/Trevor-Cowan. Anchor.fm/Kingsmen. Anchor.fm/Brothers Inc. Broadway Chichoff ChristTyler.com/index.php/multimedia. Buzzsprout.com/266333. Buzzsprout.com/1330924. Cultivateandkeep.com/podcast. Feeds.transistor.fm/daily-perspective. Forgingbonds.org. legacy-dads.libcn.com. listennotes.com/podcast/quality-manhood-compass-bible-church-GHC4PX8M2A3. listennotes.com/podcasts/shepherds-men-grace-church-NQYK1FGUSDM. modernchristianmen.com. moodyaudio.com/store/radio/chris-fabry-live. pesto.tech. realmenconnect.libzn.com. soundcloud.com/enzonsmagazine. Chapter 4. A Men's Christian Website Guide from Feedspot. A list of Christian men websites from blog.feedspot.com/Christian_men_blogs. blog.lifeway.com/leadingmen. carryniuwhoff.com/blog. catholicgentleman'sguide.com. christendall.com/l.com. christianmensnetwork.com/blog/news. christvscell.com. cvm.org.uk/blog. dadtired.com/blog. danielzeokeek.blogspot.com. darrencsmith.com/blog. deepstrength.wordpress.com. discerning-dad.com. dthministry.worthyofpraise.org. elihuescorner.com. everymanministries.com/blog. genewhitehead.com/blog. isahopper.com. joshuasoutpost.com. carlobroussard.com/articles. kirkgiles.com. leviancy.com. lordbadu.com. manlytraining.com. mastersmen.com. missionalman.com. newmangalization.com. news.ami.net. papashanscorner.com/blogs. realmenconnect.com/blog. reddit.com/r/christianmen. renew.org. rickthomas.net. substantialhope.com. the360manproject.com. walkingwidhalimp.net. wingmen.org/blog. youcanhavehope.com. A list of Christian men's news websites at feedspot.com/news/Christian_men. carryniuwhoff blog. carryniuwhoff.com. Renew. renew.org. Discerning Dad. discerning-dad.com. The Generous Husband, blog for Christian husbands. the-generous-husband.com. Christianity and Masculinity, Christian men's blog. deepstrength.wordpress.com. Walking with a Limp. walkingwidhalimp.net. You Can Have Hope. youcanhavehope.com. Substantial Hope. substantialhope.com. Christian Men's Network, Christian Men Blog. christianmensnetwork.com. Joshua's Outpost. joshuasoutpost.wordpress.com. Carlo Broussard articles. carlobroussard.com. A list of Christian men's podcasts at blog.feedspot.com/Christian_men_podcasts. anchor.fm/manlikeradio. anchor.fm/warrior-within-Christian. anchor.fm/God-centered-recovery. anchor.fm/Christian Guys. anchor.fm/The Sedated Man. anchor.fm/Trevor-Cowan. anchor.fm/Kingsmen. anchor.fm/Brothers Inc. Broadway Chichoff ChristTyler.com/index.php/multimedia. Buzzsprout.com/2663333. Buzzsprout.com/1330924. Cultivateandkeep.com/podcast. Feeds.transistor.fm/daily-perspective. Forgingbonds.org. legacy-dads.libzn.com. listennotes.com/podcast/quality-manhood-compass-bible-church-GHC4PX8M2A3. listennotes.com/podcast/shepherds-theologians-grace-church-nqyk1fgusdm. modernchristianmen.com. moodyaudio.com/store/radio/chris-fabry-live. pesto.tech. relmenconnect.libzn.com. soundcloud.com/andzonsmagazine.